Hello everyone, welcome back to the one more session of Management Information System. Today I would like to discuss on the topic called concept of corporate planning. So before directly involving into the concept of corporate planning, we need to know what is planning. When we talk about the plan is defined as a predetermined course of action to be taken in future, means whatever the things that needs to be carried out in the future to be planned now itself. So that concept is called planning. It is a document consisting of details of how action to be executed over a period of time, means all the activities that needs to be taken in the due course of action is already pre-documented. So this is called plan. So when we talk about planning, what is the planning? Planning means taking a deep look into the future and assessing all the events that is taking place in the organization, so that we can predict all the ups and downs, and also we can prepare for the future and act accordingly. This process of assessing the everything with respect to internal and external factors and making ourselves determined to take the action at the right intervals of time is said to be the concept of planning. Then the essence of planning is seeing the opportunities and threats in the organization, and we are predetermining those threats and converting the threats into opportunities so that the company in future remains in a good shape, and this is called the concept of planning. Next, how are the plannings defined? Plannings can be classified into two types. One is the short term plan, and second one is called the long term plan. What is the difference between the short term and long term plan? Short term plans are nothing but which takes a duration of a maximum of 1 year. They are something like the missions which needs to be taken at immediate time, at instances. So like in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or at a maximum of 6 months or 1 year. So the actions or the outcome that we are expecting within short span of time, or the actions to be executed in those period of time, is said to be the short term plan. What as long term plan? It's a predetermined course of action with respect to your organization which takes up for due course of time. It may be for more than 5 years or a maximum of 5 years. So what happens here is the long range plan is more concerned with the business as a whole, not as an individual component. When you consider the business whole, or for the long term plan, what might be the things? Like establishing the standards, establishing a organization, one among the top 5 or 6 in the industry level, establishing new plants, establishing or manufacturing new products. All these things cannot happen in a fortnight or in due course of few months. It takes a long run. These kind of activities are said to be the long term plan. Next, we can look into the difference between long term plan and the short term plan. So long term plan and the short term plan can be categorized into various parts based on 5 concepts. What are those 5 concepts? First is with respect to the definition. Second one is with duration. The third one, what does it concerns? Fourth one, the issues. Fifth one, the nature of goals the organization has set. First one, while defining the short term plan, it aims to the immediate period of action, means it is focusing on for immediate action to be taken, and immediately the result has to be seen. This is with respect to the short term plan, whereas in the long term plan it uses the resources for achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. Next, while talking with respect to duration, as I earlier said, short term plan extends a maximum of 1 year, whereas a long term plan extends or starts from 5 years. It might go for 5 years, 6 years and 7 years. Sometimes there are plans which extends up to 8 years for the organization. Next, concern. What are the concern? Short term plan is concerned about the immediate action to be taken. Means it mainly focuses or concern is taken for the output to be seen immediately. As action is taken, immediate result is been expected in this case with respect to the short term. What is the concern of the long term plan? It is the stability of the organization. It is the bottom line or reaching the company at the topmost position. So here the things are concerned not with respect to very short span of time. It is concerned about the establishment itself. So nothing can be seen in a very short span of time with respect to long term plan. Here it takes a long duration. Here mainly concerned with respect to long term plan is the organization's stability. What happens? What would be the organization position after 5 years, or where will be the organization? What would be the profit? What would be the expansion of organization? All these things will be concerned. Here with respect to issues, when you talk about a short term plan, since the immediate action to be taken and the result has to be seen, it is mainly focused on the issues with respect to internal aspects. So within the organization, whereas in the long term plan, the main issues is from both internal and also from the external factors. Means the problems which prevails in the organization and also the problems from the external environment is associated with the issues with respect to the long term plan. Finally, the nature of the goal. The short term plan is straightforward. We want this, it has to be done. We want the output to be done like this, yes, this has to be done. In next few days, I want the production to manufacture this, yes. Means here the nature of the goal is straightforward. Whereas in a long term plan, it is very complex and tactically it should be executed. Why it is complex? Because in a long term plan, the nature of the goal is mainly concerned with, along with the internal factors, external factors do associate into it. So it becomes more complex, and to handle the concepts of internal issues and also the external issues to reach the goal, that things is the more tactically it should be handled. When we talk about the tactical issues, it comes only with a knowledge and the vast experience. So these were the 5 main parts or 5 main concepts which could be focused on differentiating between the long term plan and the short term plan. Next we can go with the dimensions of planning. What do you mean by the dimensions? There are few concepts that are focused. The corporate business mainly focuses on the 5 dimensions. What is that? First one is the time. Now here when we are looking into the first dimension called time, whether it might be a short term plan or a long term plan, at the end of that time period, every plan is to be executed. The key concept is execute the plan or achieve the output. This is the main concept, the first dimension that we look when it comes to the time as the first dimension. Means execute the plan irrespective of the situation, and the target what has to be reached at that period of time has to be reached. That is the first dimension. Second one is entity. When we talk about the entity, always a plan will be focused on particular entity like the production, manufacturing, finance and so on. So when the plan is focused on a particular entity, we need to concentrate that plan is executed, and the entity on which it was focused should achieve the goal. Means whatever is been planned as per the predetermined document of plan action, it needs to be executed. It right with respect to any of the entities, it needs to be achieved. This is the second dimension. When we talk about the third dimension, it is organization. When we talk about the organization, a plan is made for the organization. Means the flow of the plan should always be dissolved, it should be subsidized, means it should flow to each and every subdivisions in the organization, so that each and every parts, every unit of the organization should be knowing about why is this plan, what is this plan, what is the intention of the plan, what should be the outcome of the plan. It should be known to everyone in the organization, so that everyone is focused towards the achieving of that goal. Next one, elements. Whenever we are making any kind of plan, a plan is made out of several elements. A plan begins with the mission and the goal. Next, what is that plan? So, when we do up a plan, lot of parameter, we call these elements, are considered, then the plan is fixed. So, we need to take a consideration that we always take a move towards the achievement of the goal in accordance with all the elements, focus on the purpose and the direction towards the goal. Finally, the fifth point is characteristics. When we talk about the characteristics, it is the choice of the characteristics that makes the organization more convenient or convincing the every people in the organization, helping the communication with respect to everybody in the organization. The different characters involved. So, you should make an organization feel that all the characters and all the features associated is common to everyone. If all these 5 dimensions are achieved, a proper plan can be executed with respect to a corporate planning. Next, we talk about a wonderful concept called analysis. So, why do we need to do an analysis? What is an analysis? Analysis is knowing the background of a thing. Background, when it say about thing, it might be organization, it might be reflecting to any of the field. Why do we need to analyze it? Analyze a thing? We need to analyze the thing to know that particular matter or particular entity in depth, so that we will be doing the analysis of the previous, present and the future. Why do we need to do analysis? By doing analysis, we know what has happened in the past. By doing analysis, we are also able to predict what's happening or what is going on in the present. With these 2 parameters, we also can expect what is the future consequences. In order to do that analysis, there is one more beautiful concept called SWOT analysis. As the name suggests, each word is defined with one property. S stands for strength, W stands for weakness, then the O stands for opportunities, and finally the T stands for threats. Let us look into one by one. What is the idea or the intention of using SWOT analysis before that? So, when we talk about the strength, we look into what are the positive points of an organization. It might be a manpower, it might be a skilled person, or even it might be an experienced person in the things. Why is that experienced person needed in the organization? To provide this knowledge and experience in order to achieve the tactical strategies and the resources available in the things, market, that the prevailing market and the benefits, are all these things considered to be the strength of organization. In this analysis, all the strength has to be listed first. Then weakness. We need to find what is the weakness that has been prevailing in the organization. A weakness may be manpower. We might be having less manpower. There might be no marketing properly done. There might be no market for a particular product. So, all these things are said to be the weakness. Sometimes non-availability of raw materials itself would be a weakness to a company. Non-availability of transport, everything would be considered as a weakness. Then opportunities. What are the various opportunities that company can take up? having a subdivision, having the branches, converting the some of the strength into opportunities, the new policies that come up. Sometimes it might be a boon to the organization. All these things can be considered as opportunities. Then what is threats? When we talk about the threats, it is the unprevailed exceptions that occur over time, which can be predicted sometime, like natural calamities that will happen. So we should be ready for that. Sometimes there might be a floods. How to control the transportation then if due to rain and other things, if the products are drenched, what to do? So all these, if there would be a strike or anything, what to do with the manpower? So all these things happens with the threats. So strength, weakness and opportunities and threats we are taking it all these points for analysis. Then what does the SWOT analysis do? The SWOT analysis is a complete framework of all these points used to evaluate the company's competitive position in the current world and also develop for the future planning. SWOT analysis also analyzes the internal and also the external factors that are causing the SWOT properties, and also as well as to know the current position or a current situation of the organization. It also helps to predict the future. With this analysis, a company could be very much benefited. This is about the SWOT analysis. Next when we talk about the new concept, it is the strategic management of business. Next, let us look into the concept called strategic management. What is this strategy? The first we need to look into the word called strategies. The strategy is a extension of plan. What is a plan? Plan is just a predetermined course of action, whereas in a strategy we frame some rules, we frame some points, some of the restrictions ourselves, we frame it and act accordingly. So best example that can be considered is in a cricket match or any of the matches, when the team is losing or when the game is going out of their hand, what does the players do? The players along with the captain come together, they discuss and frame a new strategy of attacking a opponent. So what is that? They are changing the strategies in order to handle that exceptions that has occurred at that situation of time. So similarly in the organization, strategy management plays a major role by assessing the various resources that are available in the company to reach the company goals and the objectives. That is the planning. Total planning is said to be strategic. The purpose of strategic management is to help the business meet its targets, it meets its missions, to meet its objectives. It outlines the actions of decision. Mainly strategic management is something like a framework. It provides what is the outermost action that can be taken when prevailing into the particular situation. That is called the strategic management. Let us look into the chart. Where are this strategic management applicable? Strategic management can be applicable in all the three levels of the management. When we look into the organization, obviously there would be three levels. What are those three levels? The first is called the top level, the next is a middle level, and the bottom is said to be the lower level. Whereas in the top level consists of the president, general managers, directors and so on. Whereas in the middle level it constitutes various executives and also various directors with respect to the other divisions, managers and others. Whereas in the lower level it constitutes various working class people. So how does this strategy management helpful, or where does this strategic management applies at the different level? When we look into the top level, this strategic management plays its role in executive coaching, change of management, changing of leadership, designation and delegation of the work and also empowerment, etc. For all these concepts, the strategic management is very much helpful at the top level. When it comes to the middle level, it is mainly playing with the concepts of solving the problem, team building, development and performance management, because it's mainly concentrated on the objectives that is focused to be achieving as set by the top management. And at the lower level, it is the emotional intelligence and the coaching of the performance, because only when the working class peoples are very much associated with the organization, they are very much helpful in productivity, means they feel the oneness in the organization and they would be easily working for the concept. When we look into the different examples of these, it can be represented like this, a simple chart. At the top level, there might be president, or there might be general managers of an organization. Then it comes to the middle level. There might be finance division. We call it as finance manager. Next there might be production manager, and there might be different at the different levels. Next, let us consider at the level 3. When it comes to production, there might be engineering, division manager, there might be quality assurance manager. So now looking at this typical chart, we are able to assess the different levels of manager. This strategic management in a business helps all the levels, so that the strategy is already fixed at the different level, so making the organization completely flow seamlessly in order to achieve the company's goal. This was about the strategic management of the business. Next, the next concept we look into it is the strategic planning process. So far we talked about the strategic planning and other things. Now what are the things that need to be considered while framing a strategic planning or putting the strategic planning into action? Let us look into that concept. First one is mission and objectives. A manager or a person who is about to frame a strategic planning has to first know the organization's missions and also the fixed objectives that needs to be achieved. You should be very much aware before doing the plan, because when a plan is, when we say that plan is a predetermined course of action, what to achieve, you should know what has to be there in the first. So first, when he has the objective of knowing, then he can fix the target, what can be done for that. So first, know the mission and objective. Second one, scanning the environment. Means the environment, when you say environment, it involves both the internal and external factor. All the things that are associated with the organization should be properly, thoroughly scanned. Means when you say about scanning, it is the input taking, the process of knowing everything in and out, what's happening in the organization is called the scanning. So when you know the mission and objectives, and after scanning, then only then you can formulate a plan. When you know everything, so then you can formulate the plan, because you know what has to be done, what is going wrong, where is the positive, where is the strength, and all these things. Here in this case, the concept of analysis, what we have discussed earlier, the SWOT analysis can be employed here. So, when the scanning the environment, the SWOT analysis helps all the concepts that needs to be known from the internal and external concepts. Next, after formulating what is the thing, a plan is said to be a predetermined of course of action to be taken. Now, the strategy has been framed, we need to implement that strategy. So, next steps lies in implementing. It is not just implement the things and keep aside. No, once it is implemented, we need to evaluate. What do you mean by evaluate? Evaluate is validating, correcting, and whether the things are going as per the standards or as per the plan, that we need to check often, and also we need to control it. Why do we need to control it? Because strategy has been fixed, it has been implemented, it is working. We need to keep that working in a good flow, so that in order to achieve the company's goals and mission. So, this is how a strategy plan works in an organization. Next, we look into the concepts that is called essentiality of strategic planning. So, what are the things? We know how to plan. Now, we need to look into it. What are the things that causes the strategic plan or essentiality, or when is that strategic plan will be enforced on an organization to make a decision? So, these are the points. First point, market forces. When markets demand something new, so we might be doing one kind of traditional way of production. When market demands a new thing, a new outcome or a new product, then that needs to be developed in the organization. Then we need to apply a new strategy as per the market. So, that is the first point with respect to strategic management. Next, strategic planning. Second one, that is technological changes. We know that technology keeps on changing very fast. So, in our organization, we need to adapt to the latest technologies, so that we need to produce the products in an efficient manner and also as per the new standards. There might be new standards, new norms and other things. We have seen the new technologies, like we are migrating from BS4 to BS6. Now, if a steel company manufactures BS4 as per the norm, no one in the market will be able to take those vehicles. So, company has to adapt themselves to the new standards and the new technologies. In a similar way, the technological changes will enforce the organization to make new strategies. Next is the complex diversity. Today's world, we know that each and every organization do not confine themselves to one kind of products. They do up multiple products. Their activity or their production or their goal is achieved through multiple concepts or multiple productions. Why do they do it? There is lot of diversified applications need to be done, because none of the business is said to be always at the peak. There will be a fluctuation always. In order to manage those fluctuations, if there are any other products, it would be able to help the organization sustain themselves and keep the organization in a good shape, even in the situation of failure with respect to one product. So, sustainability is achieved with diversified production. Next is competition. You might be seeing that. The best example that can be considered in a market, if a person establishes an XYZ shop, if it is running in a very good situation, in the same road you can expect 3 more similar kind of XYZ shop. So people start looking into the different profit making organization or a business. If one company is making a profit, so everyone starts the same kind of business. So this is one more thing where competition arises. In order to overcome the competition, new strategies, new rules, new kind of benefits to be given to the end users, where competition can be overcome by the organization. And finally, environment. Environment sometimes causes some threats. What are those threats? So I already discussed the calamities. The calamities are never expected from any of the organization. So these calamities causes a great threat to the organization, where different strategies to be framed to handle those situations. So these are the 5 parameters. First one is the market forces, second is the technological changes, third one is the complex diversity, and fourth one competition, and fifth one is the environment. So these are the 5 factors that enforces any of the organization to prevail with the new kind of strategies. The next concept is development of business strategy. Now we know till now what is the essentiality. Now how to develop the business strategies. The first one is gather the facts. Even we saw the concept, similar concepts when we were dealing with the strategy planning process, scan the environment. So the same purpose has been enforced here as a first point. What is that? Gather the facts. So to gather the facts, we can use the analysis that has been already discussed, that is the SWOT analysis. Next, we need to assess the internal and external parameters that are associated. So that can be done by one more concept called PESTEL. What is that PESTLE? We'll look into it. What are the factors we need to focus on? The first factor is political, economical, social, technical, legal, and environmental factors. So gather all the factors from everywhere. We need to scan everything. So first point is, before developing any plan, scan and gather the information. Second one is develop the vision. When you gather every information, then you can make what is my thought, what I am supposed to achieve. That is called the vision statement. Now when you know everything, you have the position, or you are in the position to fix up what should be done or what should be achieved over a period of long time. That is called vision. Next is, you can develop the mission statement. When we talk about the mission statement, those are the course of action or different hurdles that needs to be achieved in order to achieve the visions. So next point is develop the identity. When we talk about, one more point I wanted to add here is, when we talk about the mission, what are the things that needs to be done? There are 4 points that need to be considered. First one is what we need to do, first point in the mission. Second one, how do we do it? This is one more parameter we need to think of. Third one is whom do we do it for? And fourth one, what value do we bring from doing that? So when we are able to assess these 4 points, then our mission could be achieved. Next, identify the strategic objects. There are few points that need to be assessed with respect to strategic objective identification. We call it as SMART, S-M-A-R-T. What is this SMART? S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and T stands for time related. When these four parameters, that is 5 parameters, SMART is achieved, we can have the business strategy. Next is the fifth one. What is the fifth one? Fifth one goes like this: tactical plans. The advancement of plan is a tactical plan over the strategic plan. Why? The tactics can be framed only by the knowledge of experience, and also a sequence of experience provides a plan to frame the future possibilities that could be handled at that situation instance of time. So we need to plan in a situation where that can be deployed in the case of emergency. So that is called a tactical plan. Tactical plan is usually made by the top management with a lot of knowledge and over with the experience. That is called tactical plan. Next is performance management. So when everything is done, a continuous performance management needs to be monitored. In order to look into it, all the things are happening as per the things. So if you are able to do the 6 kind of points, we will be able to develop a very good strategic plan. So in order to do the plan, so one should be aware of all these 6 plans. Next, when we look into the next point, it is the type of strategies. The first one is the overall company strategy. What is that overall company strategy? A new kind of strategical plan is done, keeping all the elements of the company. We are not focusing on a particular entity in this plan. We are considering a company as a whole, a plan that is made for all the elements of the company in order to take up or uplift everything in a company, and reaching the company to a greater heights is said to be the overall company strategy. Next one is growth strategy. A growth strategy deals with the improvement of particular things. So, or it improvement with respect to growth of an organization, or it might also involve the growth of particular production, of growth of the financial status. So these kind of concepts are taken and a strategy is framed for an organization. We call this as a growth strategy. And the third one, product strategy. When we talk about product strategy, we are mainly focusing on particular product to be improvised or having a good marketing facility so that the sales of that product is increased, or even it might be a strategy plan to establish a new product or launch a new product in the upcoming days. So this kind of strategy or a plan is called a product strategy. And finally, fourth one is marketing strategy. It is not that just by manufacturing a good product will yield a very good financial growth. It is also important to promote that market, and also look into that sales of that product is been achieved. So the good marketing has to be taken place in order to achieve the goal. So these are the 4 different types of strategies that need to be considered with respect to the organization. And next, the next topic is the tools for planning. What are the different tools that needs to be considered? First one is creativity. Why creativity is considered the first point? What is a plan? A plan is a due course of action that needs to be taken, means there lies a creativity. If there is no creativity, then it is not at all a plan. A good planner should have lots of creative ideas in order to achieve the thing. So creativity plays a major tool for the planning. Second one, it's a system approach. Not just making a plan and keeping aside. Our plan is to approach the existing system and go with the system in order to achieve the goal. So means a plan should be easily blendable with the system. We should make a plan in such a way that it should be easy to blend and applicable and consistently flowing up. The third point is sensitivity analysis. A person before making plans should know this tool of analyzing each and every minute concept, which might be very sensible things, but sometimes these minute sensible points make a huge difference or a greater impact for the organization. So analysis is to be done not only for the major things, even for the sensible entities. Fourth one, and fourth one is modeling. Before execution of plan, a modeling concept to be done. It is not that just manufacture a model and look into it. Sometimes it is true, but also you should pursue the concept of modeling, and you should think how does it prevail over a period of time. So all these things frames a tool for a very good organization, and this was the different topics that I had wished to discuss in this session. Thank you for listening. Thank you.